Because if you don't, I'll bring the weight of this whole institution down on you both. Sharon, show our guests.
This is more than vengeance. This is justice.
Can you dig it?
What's going on, YouTube? We back in the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Niles' YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, and we are back with another TV show review. This time we have Peacock's original, The Continental, from the world of John Wick. I was definitely somewhat looking forward to this, being that I'm a huge fan of the John Wick franchise. So when they started saying that they was going to do somewhat of a prequel series based off the John Wick series, more so based off the Continental, you know, the hotel based around everything that's going on in the John Wick franchise, I was trying to see what's going on. So this is somewhat basically a Winston's origin story. You know, the hotel manager that John always pretty much goes to, has been having a relationship with throughout these movies or whatever. So we are pretty much getting a somewhat of Winston origin story. I didn't mind this. We get a little backstory, similar, well, not similar, but the somewhat of him in his childhood. Not a lot, but in kind of a dramatic situation between him and his brother, where it seems like his brother ends up taking a fall for both of them, and his brother ends up going to jail for a while, and we end up skipping some years later, getting Winston being in London and his brother in New York, pretty much working for the Continental. And the situation comes up where his brother ends up stealing something, and this brings Winston back into the picture to pretty much find his brother with the orders of Cormac, who is played by Mel Gibson, who is pretty much the head of the Continental at this point, which is 70s New York City. We also get a little bit with Sharon, who you know was Lance Riddick's character. Rest in peace to Lance Riddick. He does not give us too much in this first episode. He's more so just playing the original role that he's always played as far as the franchise, outside of the relationship with him and Winston has, which I'm pretty sure we're going to get more of probably in the second episode after the events that happened in this first episode. But as far as foremost, it's all about Winston. Like, this is based around Winston and pretty much his build up, I'm guessing, to him being, you know, the guy running the Continental or whatever, and his involvement with getting with the Continental. I really enjoyed this first episode, man. I don't know how anybody else feel about it. I haven't really listened or heard any reviews yet, or more so just looked at any reviews yet. I wanted to go into this episode and see what they had for us. It's definitely somewhat of a separation as far as John Wick, the overall franchise, as far as the movies go in this series, because the series is more so, I would say, story based. Like with John Wick, we're getting story, but that shit is more so set pieces of fights, shootouts, and all of that. Like, majority of those movies is based around the action and the set pieces, and this show definitely got the action in here. Now, the first scene, as far as our first kind of like action set piece, with this hallway scene, which involves Winston's brother Frank, straight up John Wick. Like, it took us right back into tune with John Wick. What I will say is it probably is a little bit more polished and a little bit smooth in the regular franchise as far as the moves or whatever. With this being a TV show though, they don't miss a beat. Like, we are getting like that camera angles, we are getting the good fighting choreograph and the shooting choreograph. Like, it is, and if I'm not mistaken, these are the same stunt people who do the John Wick movies, so you can see how they are doing this, man, and I'm with it. Like I said, the only thing is, it's not enough action if you are a fan of the John Wick franchise, because that whole movie, these movies are based around the action and John doing what he do with the headshots or whatever. This is definitely setting up a story more so than anything, but it has to establish the characters. With all that being said, that first John Wick movie was able to establish characters without really heavily relying on the plot or whatever, or even the story or whatever. With all that being said, it didn't take me out of the first episode, but I was kind of like, where's this action? I need my action or whatever. Character-wise, I'm liking what we're getting. We got two well, not twins, but we got this brother and sister dynamic as far as Lou and Miles, who I really enjoy, which is these black characters that I'm looking forward to see what's going to be kind of their build up. But you can kind of see how this relationship is going to form with them and Winston, because they have a prior relationship with Winston's brother Frank. So I'm looking forward to that. But not only that, Frank's girlfriend, and the mother, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Frank's girlfriend, I'm really intrigued with because she has a really good action scene towards the end of this episode, and I'm really trying to see where we're gonna go with that, man. But it's really the relationship between Winston and Frank that got me invested in this, man. I was involved. I was ready. I was saying, let's go. I am going to say I did call predictions. I predicted, like, straight up, as soon as they even brought Winston in and they started having the whole thing with him going to find his brother, I knew where this was going to go. And one thing I looked at was the time length of this episode, and I'm like, okay, this is basically like mini movies that we're getting, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm pretty sure, being that it's going to be a three-part event or whatever, they're going to be doing that with each episode, as far as episode 2 probably being an hour and 20 minutes, and episode 3 probably being the longest. With all that being said, this don't seem like, are they going into the direction of a limited series, or are they going to do a full season? Because if this is only like a season 1 and they're going to season 2, I'm wondering if we're going to get somewhat of that connection with John Wick himself. Because I'm thinking, if this 70s, John Wick is born, right? He's a baby. If I'm not mistaken, little boy, he's a baby. Y'all can let me know if I'm wrong, but he is around. Like, he was born. So I'm thinking that we're going to get some type of connection with his family in Winston or whatever. But overall, with this first episode, they had me. And the only thing I would say is that the young character that's playing Winston, he kind of can't pull off that swag that I'm McShane character has as far as the older version of Winston. But I'm thinking maybe that's because that he hasn't necessarily built into that character yet, being that it's still a younger version of Winston. With all that being said, I don't feel like it's too many characters either. I'm not sure how people are going to feel about that, but we have other things going on besides. We probably going to get more involved with the people that's staying at the hotel, which we end up kind of getting a glimpse of these two twins that call themselves Hansel and Gretel or something. But as far as Winston's motivation and the way this episode ends, it absolutely sets up what we can see going forward as far as Winston and his motivation behind him going at the Continental. But I think I want to see how it's going to end up with him working for the Continental, because at this point it seems like he wouldn't want to have no parts of the Continental or this high table, anything involving them after the situation with his brother. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see how they move forward with that. And I mean, it kind of is setting up a whole revenge plot similar to what the John Wick franchise is based off anyway, with the whole thing with Wick, John, and his dog or whatever. So I'm looking forward to it, and I want to see where it's going to go. As far as Mel Gibson's character, I feel like it's not even necessary for him to be cast in this role. Maybe it's going to be something else they do with him, but he is very, I ain't going to even say generic. It's just his role doesn't stay. It's nothing for him where it had to be Mel Gibson playing this role, is what I'm saying. And I'm not necessarily saying that, like, Mel Gibson can't do what he's doing. I know it's a lot of controversy behind him, a lot of racist remarks he has made in the past or whatever. With all that being said, I just feel like this role wasn't necessarily needed for a big star name, if you see what I'm saying, or even a name behind controversy that could possibly hurt the show. I'm saying that I feel like anybody could have potentially played this role depending on where they're gonna go with this role. That's what I'm saying. Not even anything really against Mel Gibson, even though he was on some bullshit with that shit he said. Ain't even really nothing against him. I just feel like it didn't necessarily have to be him, being that I feel like they did get him for that name, and to see it, I don't know. I just feel like he didn't have to be that role right now for what we getting with him. I am looking forward to see us get more from Chiron too, as far as, Lance Reddick's character or the younger version of him. I'm definitely looking forward to see that, and the build up of him and Winston's relationship, which we kind of really don't get in this first episode. But overall, though, as far as the action, they definitely on point with it. We probably gonna need more of that, though, being that John Wick franchise is based around the action. You go to watch these movies for the action set pieces. All that being said, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this first episode as far as the Continental. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell that you want to upload new videos. Other than that, we out.